anybody who wasn't a Catholic. Every day you went home from school, you had to fight. You learned to fight. You had to defend yourself. Because they were told to beat you up. On all week long, 5 days a week, you had to fight with these people. On the weekends, these people you fought with all week long, on the weekends you played together. You were family on the weekend. But Monday morning came, you had to fight with your first cousin. Punch each other out. Bleeding noses, whatever. But that was our way of life growing up. And in the longhouse, we see these people who believe so strongly in their ways, but they could only do it in the longhouse. Back in them days, the Haudenosaunee could not go to the homes because somebody would shoot them. Because they have an excuse, oh, we thought they were a monster or something. Only recently have the Haudenosaunee been able to go back around and help clean up the homes. We only would do it in the longhouse. Everything was in that little longhouse. And I watched this. And I seen different individuals in the longhouse who did try to do something. And everybody else said, you want to do that? Do it. But don't expect me in that. Remember back in the 50s, my grandfather organized for us to go into the back and take land back in the Mohawk Valley. I was 4 years old because the Seaway came to our community and he got to see the weakness of our people. And he said, I don't want to be around weak people. And so he says, I'd like to go someplace and start new and build and help build a strong people. We were there for 1 year or more and we got evicted. But we were only maybe 4 or 5 families and a few old-timers who were widowed now, their children were growing up, they were alone, and they came and they took part with us. And people from the Confederacy came to visit us. But people were not willing to take that risk. We got evicted, finally. But in them days, we didn't have the kind of men that would stand and defend. And so we moved. And different ones went back to the reservations and that. We went to Ononda'geh. We lived here. We lived on Hemlock Road. And I seen things in the longhouse that throughout my years I watched. And I kept hearing them say, we have a problem, and it's the government's fault. And we got to tell the government, we are a sovereign people. We are our own government. We got to do something. Let's write a letter. I don't know how many letters got sent to the governor in Albany, how many letters got sent to Ononda'geh, the president of the United States, or to John Darigo, or to Ganadu, or any of these governments. Letters went out, so many letters. And as I was living this life, I said, nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? Haven't they listened to our Rodianeso? Haven't they heard our voices? Nothing. And now here it is, the 60s. From the 50s, now we're going into the 60s. 1968, we were bringing our sounds back. And there were people like Johnson Cook, Rui Papino, Asana, Huron Miller. Many of these guys, Sam George, then they came to our communities and they brought songs back to us. They gave us tapes and stuff, and we started to learn our songs. So we became a singing society. That's what they told us. That's what we do. We have singing societies. So we started singing. But singing wasn't doing it. But the singing brought the young people together. All the young people, it was our music that brought us together. Then we started hearing the old-timers talking about Haudenosaunee and the fire of the Haudenosaunee. And so we became very interested in this because this is our responsibility as men. that we need to take care of our people. We need to protect our land. We need to protect and work for the good future of our people. And so, from Singing Society, we decided we're going to rekindle the council fire of the men, that the men needed to deal with their responsibility. And so we went to the Haudenosaunee and we asked them to sanction us. But there was only 7 of us. And we asked them to sanction us. They said to us, we can't do that. And we thought, geez, you're the guys that taught us this stuff, and now you tell us you can't sanction us? And we said, why not? They says, because it's not our power, our voice to decide for you. They says, it's your responsibility. It's already prescribed within Ononda'geh that you do not need to be sanctioned. Creation deemed that this is your responsibility. This is what men do. And so we start to learn, what is reasserting? Reasserting wasn't somebody who was going to be this warrior. No. Reasserting was your beginning process from a boy to become a man. He would have to go through the rite of passage to become reasserting. He would have to go through that so that he could receive his medicine, that he could be reminded or taught his responsibility and the love he's supposed to have for his mother, his women relatives, his people. And so his medicine went in there, and his umbilical cord went in there, and Ononda'geh, the soil from his mother, the earth, would be put in there. And that's what it says. He carries the soil with him. He carries that with him everywhere he goes. And he wears that about his neck. That's why they say, rogete, he carries it. Ononda'geh, rogete. Or he wears it in a pouch on the side of him. And every time he touches that, every time he remembers he's wearing this, it reminds him of all of his duties and responsibilities and the love he's supposed to have. That's what reasserting is. And when the children need help, he's there to help the children. The women need help, he's there to help the women. He's there to see that everybody is at peace. And his role model will always be that son, our eldest brother. That's who you follow. And every day as that son gets up to fulfill his duty and responsibility to support the earth so all life could grow, that's the same for a man. That's his job. Nobody needs to tell him. Nobody should pay him. The love from his people is payment enough. The respect he gets from his people. But he can't get that unless he respects himself. That he acts properly. That he treats everybody well. That he listens to people. Because if he can't learn to listen when he's just a person with no title, if he should be chosen for a title, the first thing he's told during condolence, that he's never to turn a deaf ear to the nephews and to the nieces. He must listen to the people all the time. And you have to learn that, because if the women are going to fill a vacancy, they must know that man that they choose, that that's the way they know him, that they're not taking this empty block of wood and putting it on the bench. They're putting there somebody there that will properly represent the people, the wish and the will of the people in accordance with Ononda'geh. That's what he's supposed to be. So every time that sun comes up, you get up. You start and do what you're supposed to do. Nobody needs to tell the sun. Then nobody needs to tell you. But the ones before you are supposed to be your example. And that's sun. But if, like was mentioned, too bad 40, 50 years old, we finally become men. It's a sad thing. Because when you don't get up and take care of your family, they say, what's she at the want at them? What's she at the want at them? Your people as a whole, what's the Ononda'geh? That means if you're like the sun and the sun didn't rise, then what happens to our mother, the earth? What happens to all the life that's on this earth? How will they continue? How will they survive? And expect them to be strong, healthy, and of peace? It won't happen. When a man abandons his family, that's the same thing. When we don't do our job, we leave our people in darkness. And they need the sun to grow. Our mother brings us forth. But it's the sun who reinforces and supports her so that everything she produces can grow properly. That's reasserting.